Welcome back to Sharing Your Stories. This time, I'm bringing you a very special guest, someone who gave me the first opportunity to start in the tech world. He is Luis Madrid, the owner and the CEO of DC NEARSHORE. But not only that, he's an official member of the Forbes Technical Council. He's a very interesting person who had an incredible transition to become a tech owner. But more than that, maybe Luis, you can introduce us a little bit of how you did this transition, how you became a tech person.
Absolutely. Thank you, Federico, for having me. I'm excited about sharing a little bit of my story. Um, I'm come from a background of an engineer, okay, a programmer, developer myself. I started in 2007, doing PHP, doing, back end, front end. Back in the days, we didn't have all this concept of front end and back end. It was just a webmaster. It was called, and you were just doing everything all together. So that was, my start in this industry. But then in 2012, something, changed, and it changed when I got the opportunity to travel outside El Salvador. That totally transformed the way I was looking the world and was looking opportunities. But back then, 2012, I had the perception that I made it. I made it in life. I had a great job, and I was already a leader in a company that I was working for back then. But then I traveled first time outside, the country. And this is a very common thing, especially for Latin American people, that you're coming, from a very humble, beginnings. I was 22 years old, and basically I start seeing all of these different opportunities when I came back to the country. Um, Concepts like remote work didn't exist. Concepts of working for companies outside your country didn't exist. Now it's normalized and everyone is doing that, but back in those days that was totally new. So I decided to quit my job, and I put myself a goal of 6 months, and I started working intentionally on that date. Um, I did it. I quit my job against the will of my own family. Back then I was still, at home with my parents and family, and I decided, to start the entrepreneurial journey. I didn't know how hard it was gonna be. I had no idea what I was, going to pursue, and it's been really hard. That was 2012. Now, today, we work with very recognized tech companies. We work with companies in Silicon Valley, all across the United States, in cybersecurity, in real estate, in cannabis, in oil industry. Our team has growth incredibly. We work in different stack. We do DevOps. We do as well. Azure, we do Amazon, we do Python, a lot of technologies. I'm really proud of what our team has become, and also I'm proud about the journey that a lot of professionals and the opportunities that a lot of professionals, just like you and many others, have had in their interaction with the organization. Some of them, we gave them opportunities to become engineers, to become programmers, and now they are just in another level. We have a friend in common, by the way, Adiel, for example. I gave Adiel the opportunity to start in this industry within the company. So I'm really satisfied, and I'm really glad about not just the accomplishment as in the professional spectrum of these, but also the whole, I'm gonna call it social development aspect of the business, because we have created a lot of jobs and opportunities, and we're bringing uh, great projects and great opportunities to Salvadorian talented engineers that probably don't have that type of exposure in their in this ecosystem here and now. So that's, a summary of my story, Federico.
And for example, when you said that you had this transition or you went abroad, where did you go and what was the thing that changed your mind? Because every place that we can visit have a different impact in our lives.
I went to the United States. I went particularly to Texas. Everything is big in Texas. It blew my mind, just to see the lifestyle, just to see the level of ambition and opportunity, and also the velocity and the speed and the ambition that a different culture have. I realized that my dreams and my vision was very limited to what my country had to offer, but going to another place just with totally different ecosystem of people, companies, incomes, etc., lifestyles, just opened everything. I was young, I didn't have anything to lose, so I said, all right, I'm gonna go for this, and I did it.
And then when you started, because you said you saw a lot of big opportunities, for example, how did you decide to go into this remote environment? And for example, how did you get started? Because just to get a single client can be a headache. And how did you get even your first client? Did you have cold calls? You said cold emails, but how did you do it?
This is very great question, because it's the first advice that I would give to people that is pursuing or thinking about being an entrepreneur. Learn how to sell and learn how to communicate. I didn't know what to do, Federico. I just knew that I wanted to do it, right? So I started. It took me 3 months to get my first project remotely. I tried everything possible. I tried like portals like Odesk, Elance, and all of these freelancer portals. But eventually, I'm not really sure how it was, but one company really liked the way I was, doing things, and I got a contract, like a long-term contract, right? That changed everything. That gave me the opportunity to develop the language. I wasn't really good at English back then. Develop the language, develop as well the culture, because there's a cultural aspect in terms of working with people, internationally. But also, this company gave me the opportunity to extend and create my first team, because they came like, hey, Luis, we really like the way you work. Do you know more people? Do you have friends? And I said, and this is the businessman talking, right? That side of yourself, like, hey, look, yeah, I have friends, but I have a vision. I have a vision to create, a company and a business. Why you don't hire these people with me? And I'm gonna put together a team for you. I'm going to be overseeing, the whole operation. Yeah, yeah. And long story short, they say yes, and that's how the first team ever started in DC, in NEARSHORE. It was just an email, and it was also a clear vision of what I wanted. And open your mouth and say it. Be have the courage, to ask. And those who ask receive. Those who seek found. Those who knock the doors get the door open. That's how the real world actually works.
And going back to the part of the remote experience, how did you convince people? Because it's something that, as you said, it was not so popular that my friends, you might not agree with it, or even the client would expect that you will be in Texas or in Illinois or wherever it was. How did you convince them? Because in those, if right now people, some companies are trying to force people to go back to the office, how were you able to manage this and build that culture?
Yeah, the first thing, the first person I had to convince, it was myself, because I'm telling you that didn't exist at all in our context, right? But I was working for a company that they ended becoming the biggest provider of virtual assistant services in my country, and that's how if these guys can do it, it's possible. This is real, right? So I was convinced. Now, going to America, I think a couple of things that served me well was the work ethic I had. the professionalism I had, and also the communication skills I had. I was coming from a background where I had to or it's been all the time. It's been for me this skill of speaking in public. It's been easy for me. So I had this added value that probably other developers didn't have within the teams I encountered. I saw that limitation in people from Eastern Europe, for example. They were great engineers. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are awesome. But when it comes to turn on the camera and communicate, um, that there was a limitation. And in this industry, in general in world, you are just valuable as long as or as much as you can communicate value, right? So that served me really good. I mean, I created solid relationships with the CEO, with the decision makers, and also having as well the ambition to grow. I mean, if you definitely want to be in business or being or make it happen as an entrepreneur, you have to have ambition. I mean, you have to be hungry for more, right? So that's how it happened. I think it was a communication. I think it was as well. I invested a lot in my language. I remember I had 4-hour sessions of English training every day, just because I knew that was key for that. It was not just the code I was able to produce. Multiple things in success in business, it was going to happen by my competence in this type of interaction, right? How to convince you, how to project the value I had, and how to make people feel or trust me. That's another aspect, important aspect of how this remote thing worked for me, because people realized that I was a good person. I was a good guy, someone they could trust, and they did it. At the end of the day, they trust me with a team, and they were expanding the services with me. So people never do business with someone you don't trust, and that's why communication is important.
I also agree with that opinion, Luis. I still believe that you are a very amazing person. I learned a lot from the culture that you build in the company. And I would like to know more about how did this social development, because I have worked for large companies and some of them have it. Some of them mainly relies on one person that is the manager or an individual, but it's something that I believe is hard to build, and even how to share it and, let's say, keep it, because when you become overwhelmed, then, well, you just get bored and you just move on.
Right. I think it's the everything you do in life serves you in one or another way. And before I was a businessman, I developed myself as a leader. I remember I started the journey of having the consciousness that I want to become a leader or really good at leadership, 2008 probably, and I started consuming a lot of books and a lot of material and content, but also putting it in practice. Besides business and besides engineering and besides technology, I also was really involved into other things, hobbies, organizations like church. That's something really common in Latin America, in my country. Music as well. I'm an artist, by the way. I have a band. I have traveled the whole continent with that project. All these projects required for me to become a leader, right? So when it comes to the company, it was the same approach, and as a leader, you understand that people comes first. People is first, right? And you are not a leader if people is not following you. And then the only way to have people following you is to influence people. And the only way to influence people is to actually care about people and about their necessities and about their thoughts and their ideas, and nurture, and adding value, etc. So that's why I in DC we create this culture and actually is one of our values. We don't call it values, we call it drivers. And leadership is one of those drivers. We actually care about people. And also, I'm gonna go to the more technical aspect too. Leading technical people is complex. It's complicated. I mean, ask any tech company. Retention is hard. I mean, recruiters are all around, LinkedIn, pitching, trying to get you out of your work and going to another company. So leading technical people is complicated. It's complex. We are very, very peculiar people, engineers. So developing skills and actually caring about people is something that makes engineers feel part of something, right? And feel valuable, not only for the code they produce, but because of who they are, and also being in a place where they are here, where they can participate. So all those aspects makes the environment successful, and opening or creating a platform for people to come and grow and growth as a professional and as an engineer. And I think that's social development. Because at the end of the day, you have people growing as professionals that end creating not only opportunity for themselves, but for their families, for their mom and dad and their family in general. So I think that's the social development aspect that we do, and something that actually fulfill me. And that's what I feel. I feel fulfillment from doing that.
I believe that that's something that I really always appreciated from you, Luis. I learned a lot from that. And the last question, that because I'm sure that people are hungry to know more about how did you do it to reach the Council of Forbes? There is a process. What is the ways? Because it's something that for many of us it seems like something very mysterious that you have no idea, and sometimes. But maybe you can tell some of those steps so other people maybe in the future could be with you in that council.
Absolutely. It took me 4 years because it's not something just that just happened. I mean, I really wanted to access that, so basically I have like 3 or 4 years thinking about it. There are two ways to be there. First, what is it? The Tech Council. Tech Council is a community, right? Exclusive community of network of CEOs, CTOs, tech leaders, right? Two ways to make it is by invitation, right? So if you have someone with influence enough, they call you, right? Because you are someone, you are an authority, in your region maybe, or your country, or the area. And the other way is to apply. You can apply, but it's harder because you actually have to prove yourself. I mean, they are gonna ask you and take you in 3 phases, right? The first one is you apply through a form in their website. First thing is if they call you, if they ever call you. I mean, that's the first thing. But you have to have requirements, in many areas, expertise, and the business, and the size of your business, and the accomplishments of your business. So it's basically you have to prove, the authority you have. And then if they call you, that means that you're going to go through 3 phases of interviews. And if in each interview you're going to be asked some questions from different perspectives. In one of those, it's not technical at all. It's just like, let's say, a discovery call. They're going to ask you just common sense questions, just to understand who you are. And then the second call is technical. They actually want to understand what's your your professional background and your expertise, and what type of value are you going to bring to the table, right? And then the last one is more about your business and more about also the whole council dynamic, right? And then they tell you like to wait like 24 to 48 hours to get an answer, and they communicate to you if you got accepted or not. Now, another thing about Forbes is that they are publishing, right? Content publishing brand, prestigious brand. So they are going to be very meticulous about who you are, right? They are going to be very protective about their brand. And but once you're in, they are very open. They are actually provides you with the material. They send you a press release, and you know they want you to promote, you know, their brand, um, you know, and in all of the channels possible, right? So I think that benefits them because they have exposure of their brand within your network if you are people of authority in your industry. And also it's beneficial for you as a professional because now you have a brand recognized, international recognized brand in your profile, you know, that just by seeing it, people that don't know you say, okay, these guys must be someone, right? Just to be there. So I think it's a win-win situation. But yeah, if you don't have people with influence inside the organization or the council that can promote you and make them send you an invite, then go to their website and try to apply. But again, it's a long journey. So that's how I made it. So there you go.
Thank you very much, Luis. And it has been an amazing experience to listen to you after so many years. And hopefully we'll speak soon. Have a great day, and thank you everyone who is listening to us. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Thank you.